Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. Just saw the film We Grown Now, and good movie, drama. Takes place in fall of 1992. Should you go see it? Should you go not? That's what I say first. And then, after I give the official proclamation, there will be spoilers. So the thing to do is look for my recommendation. If you're going to see the movie, go see it. But don't forget to come back because you want to hear what I have to say about the film. So I would recommend this movie. I do think this is a good movie. It's a drama. It's a contemplative. It's children, Chicago, 1992, fall. Unlike some of the advertisements or advertisements, as we say, there wasn't a whole lot of Michael Jordan stuff in this movie. It's just in the shadows of that era. Okay, so now let's discuss the movie further. So the movie, for some reason, I just wanted to see this movie. I thought it might be a little more upbeat than it turned out to be, but that's okay. The movie, I'm not sure if the director, writer, producer was the same individual who also created Moonlight, or if it's an entirely different individual. Or I saw Moonlight when it came out. I think that was 2017. And it won the Oscar for Best Picture. And I remember when I saw the film Moonlight, I said, well, to myself, and I don't remember if I even did a review or not. I can't remember if I was doing these reviews back then. But it's a very good movie. It's just so depressing and bleak. That's Moonlight, not this one. We Grown Now, I feel, is more optimistic. Optimistic. I feel like it's a bit more... you're not going to want to fucking kill yourself or jump onto a train track and get hit by a train after you see this one. So I like this movie. In fact, I would probably say with somewhat similar content, maybe not exactly. This movie, probably a better movie in my opinion, at least more enjoyable to watch than Moonlight. But why the comparison, you might be asking? Well, it's kind of the same as they say in the school books, socioeconomic situations. These fine folks in Chicago are in a predominantly black neighborhood, government subsidized housing, as they say, and 1992. So I guess the shine has kind of gone off the projects here because these neighborhood kind of peaked a generation earlier. Back in Grandma's time, so now we're getting to the spoilers, by the way. Grandma, who had moved with her husband to this neighborhood in Chicago from Tupelo, Mississippi, home of Elvis, and she describes it in a nice little monologue at some point late into the film, that the neighborhood was so wonderful and everyone sat out and talked and everyone was very optimistic, 30 or 40 years earlier, maybe 50 years earlier, and now her grandchildren are kind of living at the tail end of this. It's no longer the peak. It's far past it. The neighborhood is a bit, it's just not so nice. There's spiders in the apartment. The police are coming in at 2 a.m. There's a shooting. A small child's been killed in the neighborhood. Basically, the situation's gone amok. It's gone south, so to speak. It's bad, and everybody's kind of miserable. And we see that represented through all the characters, but mostly through, there's these 2 young boys. Malik, I think we could kindly say, is the lead character, the central character, and his little friend Eric. They're really about the same age. They're in the same grade at elementary school. I would like to say they're 11 or 12. They're pretty young kids. Good acting, by the way. The children actors do a nice job. Malik has a sister that's maybe a year older than him. Eric has a sister that looks to be 6 or 7 years older than him. She's about to graduate from high school and go to college. Eric, the friend, for his part, his mom is deceased. He's being raised by his father and his older sister. And Eric lives 2 or 3 doors down from Malik and his family, which basically consists of Malik, his slightly older sister, the mom, and it looks like her father is deceased, and her, so that's it. So you have a family of 4 and a family of 3. Now you might be wondering, if this was a sitcom or a series, how come Eric's dad hasn't put the moves on Malik's mom? But, that's not what happened. So I think this movie was probably based on true events from the writer. And that's why I'm thinking it might have been the same Moonlight person, but maybe fucking not, you know. And I thought about checking my little phone to finding out the information before I came to you, but this is Mike's instant movie review. I see the movie and then we do an instant review. I don't cheat. I don't go looking for facts on the internet. I do this from my brain, okay? So, in any regard, the advertising said something about Michael Jordan, and not that I'm crying about it, but there's only one little conversation where Malik and Eric are basically doing the same old trite Michael Jordan talk. Could he win these championships without Scottie Pippen? And then this third kid comes into the fray and mentions Horace Grant. And then we see, I think Eric is wearing a fucking Chicago Bulls jersey later on. And that's pretty much the end of that. So if you're going into this movie thinking it's the whole neighborhood is rallying around Michael Jordan, not really. These fine folks have their own problems to worry about, okay? So, any regard. But I like the movie. I mean, it's contemplative. You know, if you ever saw the movie Stand By Me, River Phoenix, you might be saying, well, who's that? Well, once upon a time, young people, Joaquin Phoenix, who you know is the Joker in the Batman movies, you see, he had an older brother, okay, that basically kicked down the door to Hollywood for his whole Phoenix family, and that was River Phoenix, but he's been long deceased, unfortunately. And Joaquin has done an admirable job with his own career, but basically my point is, one of this River Phoenix's movies was titled Stand By Me, where you had him, you had Corey Feldman, not Corey Haim, but Corey Feldman, and you had the third kid who became like an adult actor who's still bouncing around, Gordo, who actually lost some weight and has been a pretty famous actor, kind of like a B-level actor for many years, can't remember his name, Johnny Connolly or Jimmy Connolly or Johnny David Connolly, some shit like that. But that guy's been in a million fucking movies you've seen, and oddly enough, the lead kid in Stand By Me really did nothing with his career. He did one or two other movies and kind of faded out. Oh, God. But Kiefer Sutherland's in that movie, a young Kiefer Sutherland. What else? So, it should have been you. It should have been you. So this movie, to me, it kind of felt like a nostalgic trip, a little bit like Moonlight and a little bit like Stand By Me. It's childhood, it's boys being friends. When you're a young boy, you know, a lot of young boys have a best friend that they kind of thick and thin, ride or die, and then what happens when one of them, their family is moving, because that's the big twisteroo in this one, is that Malik's mom has an opportunity to move to Peoria, okay? So she's got to make this choice. Basically, do you have a car? She says no. With driving to Peoria for this job advancement is a 3-hour drive. So she speaks to her mother, and the mother has all her money rolled up, and luckily the police didn't steal her money when they broke in at 2 in the morning, which was nice of the police to not steal her money, even though they wrecked her home. And they're going to move to Peoria. So basically it's the ripping young Malik from his best buddy. Malik seems to handle it in stride. He wants to get the fuck out. And Malik has a little bit of The Shining going, where like we kind of see these moments with Malik where he's kind of looking through the ceiling and he's seeing the great big sky. And he kind of has this thing when his grandmother tells him about the train. Like Malik kind of gets this train visions going, like he's hearing the trains. And then at the end of the movie, a really nice scene where the kid kind of steps back in time. That's how I interpret it, to the family moving, you know, into the home in the 1950s or 60s from Tupelo, and the grandmother is younger and she's sewing, and he sees his grandfather in this vision, and he, you know, he, like the little kid Malik kind of relives the home, like the journey of the actual home that they've been in. So I thought that was nice. Now, they do this little technique, which, you know, it is what it is. But you ever go see, you've seen a movie before. You know, at the end of the movie when, like, the character is kind of remembering all the wonderful things that have happened in their life, which just so happened to be all the goddamn things you saw in the movie, you know? And so they have the little flashback moment where the kid, Malik, is, like, thinking back to all these wonderful memories of him and his buddy Eric. And, of course, we see these little 2-second flashes, montage, if you were, of him and his pal living life as we've just seen it throughout the film. I think they might have put 1 or 2 other scenes in there that weren't fully explored in the film. Maybe they were cut scenes, maybe they weren't. Maybe they were just for the montage. However, folks, that's kind of a trite film technique we've seen for 20 or 30 or more years, and I don't like it. You know why? Because I think if you have the right actor who just kind of looks off contemplatively into the distance, you can accomplish the same goal. The audience is not a goddamn room full of idiots and assholes. You kind of get the point. The character is reflecting upon their life. So you don't need to fully illustrate that with this flashback. I find that to be a goddamn film cliche. If you've been watching my video, I wouldn't say it went viral, but it went viral for this channel anyway. With only 100 and some odd subscribers, but you're welcome to subscribe if you haven't before. You're welcome to tell your friends, your enemies. Maybe tell your enemies about this channel. That'll curse them. But basically, something to the effect of, there's a line in movies that I don't like hearing, which is, are you okay? If you go to the films, if you go to the cinema, you go to the auditorium, and the movie, some character hurts himself or they get shot in the arm, like all the action heroes do, and then the other character runs up and says, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Keep going. So there's another one that's been coming along the mountain, another movie line of dialogue that's cliche and crap. And no, it's not, I love you. It's, you got this. So at some point in this movie, folks, and look, 1992, I'm sure somebody said, you got this to some other asshole at some point in 1992 in Chicago or anywhere else in the world. I'm sure people said that line. But you got this wasn't this fucking expression that everybody uses like they eat a fucking granola bar or a piece of white bread every day. You got this is like the last, I want to say 5, 7, 10 years maybe. That's become this redundant cliche that every fucker needs to say. It used to be things like, just do it. That was another one. But you got this. That's like the horse shit fucking line of dialogue that people say in movies when they want to end a scene with one character giving the other character a little bit of a nudge. And we see that in this one with Dad, Eric's dad now, is advising his son to go apologize to his best buddy. Okay, another spoiler, because late in the game, I thought the movie was just going to end at this point, but we got like an extra 20 minutes out of this thing, maybe 15, when it's fully decided that Malik is moving, him and his family are moving, Eric's upset, Malik writes up this little story, and he mentions his buddy, and Eric's giving him a hard time, and then I thought he was going to call him the F word. Okay, I thought we were going to go there, but nope, we went right to violence. Little Eric pushes little Malik, and I'm thinking, oh God, no, they don't kill Malik, do they? Because at the beginning of this movie, like when the movie first started, I'm basically thinking one of these kids is going to end up dead. Like that's where this movie has to head. I mean, it felt like they're going to set me up, they're going to make me fall emotionally invested with these children, and then they're going to kill one of them. But they don't. But we think they will when Eric pushes Malik, and it looks like Malik suffers a concussion or some such thing. We don't, I mean, they're working with children actors. It probably wasn't the biggest budget in the world, not the smallest budget either, but they did not show any bloodshed or little Malik twisted his neck or his spine or bonk in his head. So I was just kind of left with the impression that he got a little boo-boo, he got a little concussion. But there was moments when we thought he was dead, more or less. I mean, there's like 2 or 3 moments when you're like, oh, fuck, did Eric just kill Malik? What the hell's going on around here? But luckily, he didn't kill him. He just hurt him. And Eric, oddly enough, never really apologizes, by the way. He says, I'll miss you, but he doesn't apologize. It'd be nice if you apologized, Eric, for Christ's sakes. Anyway, the film ends on kind of a positive note. I mean, you know, if you've seen it, and the family's driving away, Malik and his family, Malik's looking in the back seat, and he sees his little buddy Eric running after the fucking vehicle. What a metaphor, what a visual representation of friendship, of moving on, leaving people behind. My God, what a world. So, you know, I mean, I'd like the movie. I mean, what the fuck can I tell you? I mean, obviously, I can't remember. There was some 2 words with a hyphen in between it as far as this government subsidized housing. I don't remember the name of it, to be honest with you. I don't know. Was this the same neighborhood or similar to, if you ever see the show Good Times? I have heard reports that there's this animated reboot of Good Times, which people are hating, okay? And I haven't watched it. I don't plan on watching it. But I will say this, I'm not surprised that Seth MacFarlane is so goddamn arrogant, thinking that he can just do whatever he wants. Oh, I made Ted. Oh, I made The Family Guy. I get a hall pass to make any type of offensive comedy about things I don't know about. Typical Rhode Island asshole, Seth MacFarlane, okay? I said it. So anyway, I haven't seen his Good Times. I don't plan on getting Netflix just to see it. I don't hate watch things, folks. People are like, oh, Mike, what'd you think of Roadhouse? They aborted it. I'm not going to watch it, okay? If I stumble upon it, if I feel like watching it, I will. But I'm not one of these people that feels the need to watch something because I know that I'm not going to like it. You know what I mean? People do that. Oh, you got to see how bad this is. You know, smell this rotten milk. I don't want to smell the goddamn rotten milk. I'd rather smell perfectly fine milk or no milk at all. I don't like smelling food. I don't like when people smell my food. That's another goddamn thing that people do that's so obnoxious. They put their goddamn nostrils in the food you're about to eat. What the hell are you doing? What the goddamn fuck are you thinking? Putting your fucking nostrils in the food I'm about to put in my mouth. I mean, people are just so goddamn stupid sometimes. Anyway, I like this movie. I thought it was good. I mean, I don't think you could do like I said, I would totally take this over a Moonlight any day of the fucking week. I don't know if it's the same filmmaker. I wouldn't be surprised one way or the other. It wasn't as artsy-fartsy as fucking Moonlight, and it was a hell of a lot more enjoyable, and I feel like it covered more realistic territory. I don't know. What the fuck? I mean, I guess every story is realistic if it happened, right? Or if you can think it could happen. So who am I to say? I just like the movie. I mean, I'd probably give it a 3 3/4 out of 5. Why not give it 4 stars? I mean, I don't know. Maybe because it's not the most original movie, or perhaps I would have liked some, reference more to the Michael Jordan era. Like, did that have any influence on the city or whatever the fuck? But they kind of just use that as a promotional hook. Whoever wrote the copy, as they say, the text for the advertisement that I read, or the synopsis. In any regard, I like this movie. The kid actors, I think, will both, or I guess there's more, because you get the sister, you get the other friend that's kind of a third-wheeled friend. You got the sisters in there. The sisters of the Malik and Eric both have sisters. And the mom, the single mom, I thought she was a great actress. And I thought the lady that played her mother was great, too. So, I mean, I really had no problem with any of the casting. I just thought it was good. It's solid. Contemplative. That's how I would put that. I would put the spin that this is a contemplative, I'm contemplating it. And apparently this housing neighborhood was renovated or basically destroyed, as it were, in 2011. That was the end of it. And, things run their course, folks. I mean, there was plenty of things that I've enjoyed in my life. I remember something called the Castle Movie Theater in Providence, Rhode Island, that had a good 4 or 5 year run. I'm sure you have some things in your memory bank that's no longer there, like things that you enjoyed that you thought would be there forever, and they're gone, okay? So that's why you've got to take video, and you've got to remember things, and, I do think people get a little too hung up on that shit, like, oh, this thing is gone now. Well, nothing lasts forever, even Cold November Rain, Axl Rose, okay? So, it's just the way things happen is things have a life, and then they die, okay? So that's fine. It's just part of existence. It's, it sucks. There's things in this neighborhood of Jacksonville, Florida. When I first moved here, there was 2 movie theaters, 2 other Regal cinemas, one on Beach Boulevard that kind of opened and closed, and herky-jerky and pandemic and all that shit. And then there was another one near the airport, and that closed. But I still sleep at night. I don't cry about it. I just live with it. I live with the death of these movie theaters. So that's it, folks. So yeah, go see the movie. If you enjoyed this review, or if you didn't, go to MikeMessier.com. You can scroll to the bottom. You can stand me on social. You can buy all my books. Fight or Play Basketball is a wonderful story. A Distance from Avalon is a wonderful magical realism story. My Pro Wrestling Trivia, you can play that on whatever the fuck, on Kindle. and so forth. MikeMessier.com. Subscribe.